about you. You are the selling point, and the landscape is changing. So be your authentic self, because no one wants to go to work being miserable all day. Look at your own resume, look at your own LinkedIn, and look at your impact and what you have provided for that other company. And if you write things in that context, you're going to talk to the next employer.
In my opinion, it's about giving the customer what they really want and just blowing their mind once they get it. And that's what I really love to see, honestly.
Get people to do more of home cooking, home cooked meals, healthy meals, so we can all live long and happy.
I'm very proud to be a mom, because not for nothing, women are amazing.
Oh my God, the sacrifice, and how we make it look so easy.
I was just telling Joanne before we got on the call, I said I had to run from my daughter's school. They had an Easter egg hunt. I said, all right, Mom, I gotta go to work. But you know, just as moms, we
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Today is Thursday. It is October the 24th, and we are excited to have you back for our Lunch and Learn for today. We are really excited. First of all, before I even get into anything, so last weekend was our Juneteenth conference that we had here in Atlanta, Georgia, where Juneteenth organizations all across the world, the United States, came together to talk about Juneteenth and bringing Juneteenth together. And that was such a powerful moment, because we were all on one accord, and just seeing a bunch of coordinators, organizers be able to do that was amazing. So during my time there, I got to meet and she told me to call her Grandma Opal. And that was such a blessing to my heart. I got to speak to her, and she is so sweet. She's so loving. Everything that she portrays on TV and on all of her publications is very much who she is internally. So it was such a blessing to be able to meet with her, to talk with her, to sit at her feet literally and listen to her talk. And so while we were there, we were talking about this upcoming elections, and we have been talking all month about the elections and just understanding different pieces of it. So today we are going to go take a little bit back, so we can learn a little bit about some of the history, some of the people who helped to pave the way, and some people who are here presenting and offering, holding space for a lot of our ancestors. So we are going to bring to the stage Mzuri Moyo. She is internationally acclaimed vocalist, actress, and multi-award-winning playwright, known for her impactful work in the Fannie Lou Hamer story, which I got the pleasure of being able to see a small excerpt, and I was so drawn in, and I was like, oh my gosh. So I think we're going to show you a little bit of that tonight. So definitely stay tuned. She was born in Paterson, New Jersey. Woo woo to the New Englanders. Mzuri combines the commanding presence of a movie star with the vocal prowess of an opera singer. And she was very enthralled with my piano here in the background. So I know that she is a artiste because of that. So welcome to our space. I didn't even introduce myself. My name is Athenia Rodney, CEO and founder of Juneteenth NYC, and we are excited to have you joining us on today. I know today is a little off because we got tech issues, things that happening, but we're going to press forward and we're going to make this a great one. So Mzuri, share a little bit about who you are, why, and how you got started in this Fannie Lou Hamer story.
It's it's a unbelievable story because first of all, let me just say, you pronounce my name Mzuri. I know Americans, we want to do that hard M, but it's Mzuri, it's
Mzuri.
Mzuri Moyo Aimbaye means beautiful heart that sings.
Oh,
It's in Kiswahili.
so
And
resonating.
I was born Lorraine Teresa Pope, for all my folks, from Patterson that remember me as Lorraine T. Pope. But I changed it. I had the opportunity to visit my cousin in Germany. And from there, it set me off to I just started going all over the world, and I moved to Paris, lived there. I had a good friend, two friends. From one sister was from Martinique, and her mate was from, he was from East Africa. And he said to me, "You are not Lorraine, you're Mzuri. You're Mzuri." And I went, "I am?" And you know what? That was in the 80s. And when I came back home, I started telling people my name was Mzuri. And it just changed itself to that name. And then I had a good friend. He's, he's an ancestor now. Mtimbezi, my good buddy Mtimbezi said to me, I called him and asked him, I said, "I need a last name." And he said, "Moyo." He spoke fluent Kiswahili. His brother, he was American, but he was a professor at Columbia, and he gave me the last name Moyo. And then a few years after that, probably about 10 years after that, or maybe not even that long ago, I put Moyo Aimbaye, which means beautiful heart that sings. So now it's Mzuri Moyo Aimbaye. Beautiful heart that sings.
I love that. And you definitely are exactly that. Hearing your voice on Saturday at the Juneteenth conference was amazing. So before we get into a little bit more of your story, talk to us about your relationship with Juneteenth and how you got connected. Like, is there a personal story there?
There is. I have a partner now, Jehudi Sehotep, my husband. But back 20 years ago, when I started performing the Fannie Lou Hamer story, I would call everybody, and I found Doc Myers, who was ahead of Juneteenth. So I used to call Dr. Myers and beg him, "Dr. Myers, please bring me to do my play to, Mississippi, and and of course he never did because of funding. It's always been a funding issue with Juneteenth. So I put that relationship probably, quietly to bed, but not to sleep, And so my husband, when we met, he started doing research and he found Dr. Myers, and they formed a bond. It was amazing. They would stay on the phone for hours talking, because Dr. Myers was so eclectic. He was a great musician. He was a medical doctor. He was a philanthropist. He gave of himself. And wow. He really wanted to heal people. He was a healer. He was. And, he was really mistreated. And but the main thing that he did was create the National Juneteenth Observance Foundation. Mm-hmm. And he and Jehudi made a connection. And he told Jehudi that I needed to put Juneteenth in my play. Mm. And I said, "Why? What for? What's Juneteenth have to do with voting?" Ignorant. Okay.
Oh, wow.
And so I started doing, and I was like, "I don't know, put Juneteenth in my more. I'm putting more. I've already got this and this in it, And so when I read up on voting and slavery and the end of slavery gave us the power to vote, I went, "Oh my God, I would have missed the boat."
Yeah. Yeah.
I had no idea because Jehudi had another friend said Juneteenth. He didn't know what Juneteenth was, and this brother was from Texas.
Nobody.
He was a very wealthy man. He was well off brother, but he was born into wealth, and so I kind of when he said what does it have to do with it, I agreed, and I wasn't born into wealth, and so. Once I did the research, I found out how ignorant that most people are with the relevance to Juneteenth and voting.
Yeah.
And so I did put it in the play.
You did. Oh, that's amazing.
I did.
So
it's a powerful part. It's the end of the play, but it is powerful. So when I put it in the play, Juneteenth hadn't passed. It wasn't a holiday.
yeah. Oh, nice.
Yeah, because I wrote it in before Dr. Myers passed away. I think he passed in 2018.
Yeah.
It's been a while. The time flies. And so I did put it in there, and the piece that I put in there, you can't miss on why you should vote.
Well,
yeah.
I definitely I want to go into that because we are coming up on elections.
Yes.
And this month for us is all about voting. So we've been having a series every week talking about voting and why we should vote and why is it important to vote, and that our vote does matter. Talk to us a little bit because Fannie Lou Hamer's story is very relevant in that why we should vote piece. Can you share a little bit about why you decided to tell her story of activism?
Well, it wasn't a plan around me telling a voting story.
Really?
I just heard what got me upset when I heard about Fannie Lou Hamer, which was probably in 1989, 90. I was long out of high school. And I had not heard of her, and she was on Like It Is. Are you in New Yorker long enough to remember Gil Noble? Like It Is.
I just left New York 3 years ago, so I have been born and raised in New York City.
Yeah. So you do remember Gil Noble, Like It Is, that TV show?
I don't recall that TV show though.
It came on every Sunday, and it had all of the different. He had different people come on. It was political. And he was unabashedly African-centered. He was fantastic. He interviewed everyone on that show. And it wasn't just race, Black people. It was everyone he interviewed. And so I saw that show with Fannie Lou Hamer on it, telling how they put her in jail. And these sheriffs or whatever they were, state troopers, gave a baton to two 18-year-old kids that had been arrested the night before on vagrancy, just probably hanging out on the street. They put them in jail.
Wow.
They took her to the bullpen, is where they beat Black people, and that's what they named it. Okay. And they gave this baton to the first Negro kid, and they said, beat her. And they had them under gunpoint. If you don't beat her, you know what we're going to do to you. And they beat Mrs. Hamer. That boy beat Mrs. Hamer unmercifully. Unmercifully. And, she had polio. She was 4 feet, 11 inches tall. And, this kid's beating his grandmother. Okay. And then when he got finished, they gave it to that second kid. And they said, beat her. And she started moving her legs and feet and everything. They had that first guy sit on her feet to keep her from moving. And they beat her to a pulp. And she took that beating so we could vote. And we got folks out here talking about they're not going to vote. I don't understand that. I don't. So that's why I have dedicated my life to doing this play. I didn't start out with it being about the vote. It started out with me just hearing Fannie Lou Hamer, and then I had a director, a Desi. What is Desi's last name? Anyway, she said to me, Mzuri, her name is Desmond Walker. I'm sorry, she's a fantastic actress, great actress, and she's a great director. Desmond Walker. She said, Mzuri, what would you want your takeaway to be from this play? She asked me that 15 years ago because I hadn't been doing about voting. And I said, Fannie Lou Hamer will want people to vote. Mm-hmm. That's when that came about. Mm-hmm. So nothing was pre-planned. Oh, I think I'll write a play about voting. Nah, that's not how God gave it to me.
No, that's usually how it goes. He never gives it to you the way you think it should be given to you. He gives it to you in pieces. And then as you start to put it all together, you start to see how and why, and to see why all of your past You were talking about learning how to play the piano and to sing and do all of these things, how your past now all comes together for this one purpose.
Yeah. And what's really more incredible is that, I never really I didn't go to Juilliard, and I didn't go to Yale, and I didn't do all those things. I took acting lessons and classes. When I was little, my mother used to say, "Girl, you're a born actress. You're a born actress." And, I did take singing lessons, but when I was little, they used to call me Little Mahalia. And so I always had it in my heart that I was a singer, but I've never really been as confident as an actress. And I got on the stage doing it because, I had the passion to tell Fannie Lou Hamer's story. And it took me at least, so just recently, I accepted that what I wrote in the Fannie Lou Hamer story is fabulous. I wrote
just recently. You just recently?
Yeah.
Mzuri. Oh my gosh.
After you left, I won the Delco. I won all these awards. And my husband used to say, and so finally, I think just a few weeks ago, I don't know what happened. I was in a theater, and the name of the theater is the Theater West End. And also I was at Nate Jacobs Theater in Sarasota called the West Troop Black Theater. I did 4 shows in those 2 theaters, and it liberated me from feeling like my play was inferior. I mean, I got people even though I got standing ovations before, I don't know what it is. God just said, okay, it's time for you to wake up. Okay, it's time for you to wake up. And after doing the script thousands of times, I mean, I looked at it and I thought, because I would hear the lines in my head. My back, may be crumbling on from 1,000-pound days. And 6 generation of fingers have been made swole by cotton picking. And many a spirit have been crushed and splattered by hatred and racism on the to James O. Eastland plantation. But my vision have not been clouded by the misuse of power. That came to me in my head. I didn't sit down and write that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I do want to find, I know you have some things that you want to share with us. So do you want to preface one of them before I go into my other questions for you?
This first clip I think you're going to play was an advertisement for something that I did for AARP.
Okay.
When they did their One Voice, One Vote in I think that was in 2018. One Voice.
Born in 1917, the last child of a sharecropper, Fannie Lou Hamer rose from humble beginnings in the Mississippi Delta all the way to a seat at the Democratic National Convention in 1964, cementing her place in history as one of the most influential voices of the civil and voter rights movement. AARP presents the Fannie Lou Hamer Story, a virtual play with an introduction by MSNBC's Joy Reid, followed by a one-on-one discussion featuring Fannie Lou Hamer story actress Mzuri Moyo Aimbaye and our host, Harriet Cole.
Yeah, that is great. I love that. Oh my gosh. Like AARP, they're one of our sponsors as well for Juneteenth. So I'm glad to see that they are continuing to not just put their money where their mouth is, so to speak, be present in the community and in Black organization and good spaces. So shout out to AARP.
Yes.
For that and their voting.
Yes, we want to do more work with them as well. And so as you see, this has been an unfolding, a flowering, if you will.
Indeed. So talk to us now a little bit about the tour. So the tour is called Vote, Voice of the Empowered. What message do you hope to convey through this tour?
Well, the message is, for me, it came to me this morning after prayer and meditation, that isn't it interesting that Black people did not know, let's say for, sake of that 75 years ago, Black people, some Black folks didn't know they could vote like Fannie Lou Hamer in the 50s. She had no idea. So in the 50s, that's been 70 years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fannie Lou Hamer had no idea about voting and all that. When she found out about it, she couldn't believe it, you know? So and then of course they were prevented from being able to go vote because of poll tax, which Mama Opal talks about, you know, Grandma Opal talks about how she had to decide whether to buy groceries for her kids or to pay poll tax.
Yeah.
She could vote. And she chose to pay the poll tax. I mean, now we have young Black people that decide. It's not like, oh, I didn't know. They decide. They make a decision.
They make an active choice. Yeah.
Not to go vote. I don't understand that.
And not just young people, older people too. Not just young people.
Well, you know, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, they say. So I'm talking to the young folks, but everybody. Yeah, the people who decide that, you know?
Yeah, I've been very intentional. My son is 15, and after I finish here, I'm taking my children, because we're in Georgia and we do early vote, and I'm being very intentional to take them with me to vote so that they can see what the process is, see how it is, see the process that I took with researching and figuring out my answers before I went into the polls. Like, those things to me are so important. And yeah, we sit there and we're going out in the streets and we're, you know, marching and going to these different rallies, whether it be Republican or Democrat, and people still, like, that's all they know. You going for the presidency. There's so many other things that are going to be on the ballot this year to vote on that are going to help to affect what the president does when they get into office. And we have to be the people to go out and do that. So I agree with you so much. So you hear the passion. I'm trying not to get on with that, but it is frustrating. I totally agree. So so what I hear from you is that the message that you want people to walk away with is that they need to go out and vote, because we have people in the past who literally had to choose whether they would vote or if they would feed their children, like Grandma Opal shared with us on this weekend, like you said, and she chose to go and vote because she said, God will make a way that my children will provide for my children, that they will not go hungry. And they did. And God did. So just know we don't have to pay to go vote now. Like, that has been taken away. And now it is open. It is free. It is for us to do. And we're choosing, like you said, not
to get beat down while you're online waiting to go vote. How about that? Being beat with bats and all that kind of stuff. Shot at.
Watered holes down, all of those things.
And now we have people that their minds have been totally turned away from it.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah, that they think that their vote doesn't matter, and every single vote counts, even down to the
means I don't matter, you know, that you don't really matter because your interest in one of those parts. I mean, you know, I have family members that don't think that, you know, it's going to matter one way or the other. You're dreaming.
Yeah,
okay? It's definitely going to matter, because now we have a Supreme Court in place that makes decisions that morality doesn't come into play.
Yeah. So speaking about that, talk to us about, so during your tour, has there been a specific moment that resonated deeply with your audience members regarding the importance of voting?
Oh my goodness. I had a gentleman come up to me in Sarasota when I performed there, and he was sitting by a young man, African-American, and he said to him, are you going to vote? And he said, no. I guess his mother made him come to the show. He was 25. And so he said, nah, he wasn't registered. Well, after the play, he went and registered. So I implore all the people in Fort Worth that got young folks that don't want to vote, not interested, apathetic. We got a day or two before. That's why, you know, Miss Opal said, "I'm bringing you." You were there, Athena. You saw when
yes. Let's tell a story about Mother Opal. So we are in a break at this conference. And she goes up to Mzuri and she's like, she wants to have her come down to Texas. She wants to have her do her play there in Texas. She then proceeds to pick up the phone and call the stadium, the place to have
Jubilee Theater.
Jubilee Theater to have it. She's like, oh, they're not open right now. Let me call the owner. She then proceeds to call the owner of the place. Then she's like, let me send a message out so that I can get all the churches to come out to this event. Okay, she wrote down, she said, let me see what dates I'm available. She wrote down on the paper, these are the dates. You see the power of the pen, the power of the word, the power of the action and putting things into place immediately, not waiting, not saying, oh, I'm going to wait till I get home and then I'm going to do this. She was like, no, right now, right now. And I was just so in awe of that I was like, oh my gosh, this right here is a teaching moment for me. Stop waiting. And voting is that. People are like, oh, I'll vote next time. Or, we have this early vote going on and people are waiting until the day of voting. Stop waiting. Like, go do it now. Who says you're going to wake up tomorrow to be able to go out and vote? And that would have been a lost vote. Like, make your vote count. So, all right, I'm on it. All right, I'm going on to the next one. But thank you for that. But Mother Opal, yeah, she did. And we can share, I think we have a flyer for the event. If you are down in Texas and you want to go to the event, can we show the flyer? This is the flyer. It's going to be on November the 3rd. It's going to be at 3 p.m. It is going to be such a blessing. So please go to the QR code, purchase a ticket to go, get your church, get your family, share it. Like, please take a screenshot so that you can share it. We'll also have it posted on our Instagram page at Juneteenth NY, so that you can share it to those who you might have family members, or if you want to take a trip and go down there after you vote, that is. Go and watch the play. And we are trying to get Mzuri to come to New York as well. So don't fret. We are working on a little something. We'll definitely keep you posted on that. So what elements of the Fannie Lou Hamer story do you believe most effectively highlight the significance of civic engagement and the voting process?
Well, I don't want to give a spoiler. But okay, there's several things. I think, let me see. Oh, this is a significant moment. When Fannie Lou Hamer was called in to come see Mr. D. He was the overseer, so to speak. He was a plantation owner that called her in after he heard she had gone to register to vote. And, he said to her, look at him. We ain't ready for this down here. Nah, we ain't ready for this voting. And, what you going to do? She said, Mr. D, sir, due respect, I did not go down there to register for you. I went down there to register for myself. Well, if you don't withdraw, we going to have to let you go. And, she got up and she left. She said, I left that night because he might not have been ready, but we had been ready down here for the last 400 years. Okay.
Come on.
All right. Yeah. And so, they tried to kill her. They shot at her 16 times.
Wow.
And it killed another little girl.
Yeah. So it missed her. It didn't hit. She didn't die.
No.
But it hit a little girl.
Killed her.
I'm assuming a Black girl.
Yeah. I heard that really did her in. Yeah, because that bullet was meant for her. So, folks, as President Biden could say, folks, this is serious.
It is.
And I applaud Mother Opal. She didn't let me talk her out of it. I'm theater, right? So I'm thinking we need at least a month lead time, but let me just tell you about another sister friend of mine by the name of Florence Sheldon Clark, who is she's in the DNC along with Rose Washington, but Florence is in the Lynx. And she saw me this summer perform at the Florida Democratic Convention state. And I did just a little excerpt, and she said, I'm bringing you to Bradenton, Sarasota. And one of the Link sisters, her Link sisters, was on the board at the West Coast Black Theater Troupe that I can't say enough about.
Wow.
This brother, Nate Jacobs, has the most incredible theater in Sarasota, Florida it's like Broadway.
Really? Okay.
He has a shop where he makes clothes, he makes the sets. I mean, it is something to behold, and it's a Black theater.
Wow. Well, look at all these Black theaters you're getting to perform in all over the place. And
it's amazing.
So,
well, wait till I come to New York. We're going to do something, because we talked with Vosa Rivers, who is the godfather, before he retires. I called him. I said, Vosa, we got to do one more tango.
Come on with it. So this is not your only rodeo show. So you have also co-starred in Sankofa. Is that correct?
Yes, a long, many lifetimes ago.
So tell us about tell us what. So a lot of people don't know what Sankofa is. So tell us about the powerful film that is now, isn't it on Netflix?
Yes, Ava DuVernay got the rights, and she not redid it. It's the same movie, but she she put it out again. And on Netflix. And so you could go to Netflix and see Sankofa, and I play Lucy, the co-star of that movie. And it's about a slave revolt. And they show the dichotomy between the folks who wanted to be free and those who wanted to remain status quo. And I was the one who didn't want. All I wanted was a light skin. What my character wanted was a light skinned baby. Because she thought that was the way to freedom for her child. And so it shows that it shows people taking over the plantation, and it's done in a it's not what you would think. It's a really incredible piece on history and a different take on slavery. Wow. I thought he did a really great job 30 years ago. It's more than 30 years ago now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So how did you participating in Sankofa, how did that give way to the Fannie Lou Hamer story for you?
My spirit has always been like a fighter, that fighting spirit. So I can't really connect Sankofa per se exactly to Fannie Lou Hamer, but it's the same foundation of you won't oppress me, And I don't know if my character, I think my character in the end kind of did wake up, but they didn't show it as much because at the end of the film highly changed it. But I do believe that my character turned and, said, look, revolution, freedom.
Okay.
And Fannie Lou Hamer is the same story. So I've always kind of had that in my spirit anyway.
I see that. And talking about your spirit, so you have been a female vocalist for the New York City Symphony for the 10-year commemoration of 9/11. So which means music, singing is definitely your thing. Can you share with us how, I guess, music plays a uniting spirit in creating moments of reflection, such as highlighting Juneteenth? Well,
there's no way that I could have done Fannie Lou Hamer. She was a singer, thank God. I didn't know how I was going to put songs in the show, but I knew I had to sing. And so I started asking people Fannie Lou Hamer's favorite song, her favorite songs. And one of them was This Little Light of Mine. And another one was Go Tell It on the Mountain.
Wow.
So I had to rearrange lyrics to connect her to her revolutionary spirit to the song. So instead of saying, go tell it on the mountain, Jesus Christ is born, I say, go tell it on the mountain that voters registration is here. And it works because you have to, and singing got us through. I think that that's what people don't realize. Singing is one of the things that got us through, just like in South Africa.
Yeah.
Singing opened the door to freedom because it frees your soul on some level, you know, and you know, when you want something to happen for you, sing it. Yeah.
That's
Sing it. Singing does something for the spirit.
That is a good one. So you were sharing. So how did you create the story? How did you compile? Was this the Fannie Lou Hamer story? Was this something that you wrote and kind of put together yourself? And what?
Yeah.
And how did you kind of? I heard you say you did some research to find out like her songs. What was your process in building out the story?
I went to the Schomburg, and went to their library and did some digging, and I looked at videos, you know, even stuff that wasn't related to her, like Malcolm X. I looked at Malcolm X do his debate in London, you know, so I did some research and read through a lot of old journals. And when I did that, it laid the foundation that I could draw from to start writing. And I used to write a lot of poetry when I was young, but I never considered myself a writer. That was another thing that I had to deal with, you know, that, okay, Mzuri, just because you didn't go to school, just because you didn't graduate from Harvard, doesn't mean that you're not a writer, you know? So yes, I did the research. I put the play together myself, and I had very little input. That's another reason why I was insecure, because I didn't have a team of people come and critique me and, you know, and say, okay, you need to do this. I did have some directors that helped me along the way.
Okay.
I didn't have a formal setting where I went to school for 5 years and now I'm a writer and all that. And, you know, I'm this, you know, writer that writes all the time like writers do. You know, Fannie Lou Hamer was dropped in my spirit. Like I told you, I heard some of the text in my head, and thus I began to write. And so I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, you did. And you also really hit on something for me that makes me think about those our young people coming up and their desires and what they're, you know, that what they kind of was put in their spirit about them not being good enough because they don't go to a certain school or things of that nature. And you just sharing your story, I hope it does empower someone else because what that said to me is that you don't have to go the traditional way. I mean, and we see that, right? We see we had a president that didn't go the traditional way that everybody else did to become president in the past. And so we don't have to go the traditional way for the things. But I do want you to share, and this just dropped into my spirit, about how hard it has been for you as a Black woman to navigate in this space as far as being a singer, being a musician, being an artist.
Especially if you don't have a male energy to, you know, open doors for you. And I experienced that for 13 years. I did the Fannie Lou Hamer story. I was my PR person. I was the writer. I was the singer. I was the actress. I was the manager. I was the accountant. You know, I did it all. And trust me, it was difficult because I didn't know what I was doing exactly. I was being guided by spirit. To do the things that I did. And I can see the difference now with Yehudi, because he really is brilliant when it comes down to the business aspect of what we're doing. He's really great at marketing. And we got some folks that helped us build a great website. And so now working with Miss Opal, we found some people that are amazing that we want to work with. So it's sort of like it's coming to me now, and especially having a partner, and I have to say a male partner that knows what he's, you know, doing in the business part of it has helped tremendous. Not that I don't want women to get upset. I'm not saying that women can't do it, because they can, but we all know it's a little bit harder.
Yeah.
when you are female. And I just spoke to my buddy Curtis King in Dallas, who has a play coming out next week. Or if it's out already, called Bitches. And I said, Bitches? He said, yes. It's about 3 young ladies do the play. They wrote it. And he said he was their mentor. And he said they're talking about the fact that when men do things, they're called, successful. But when women do it, they're called bitches.
Mm-hmm.
That's what, yeah. So, and sometimes women have to take a harder stance. I've softened now that I don't have to, but I remember threatening people.
Not threatening people. Oh Lord. So talking about
money, you go give me my money.
No, I trust me, I get that because I'm still in that space, still threatening people for money. Yes. So tell me, who's the I guess most admirable person that you have met during your journey?
Oh my God, so many. I actually walked and talked with Dr. Martin Luther King's wife.
Wow.
Coretta Scott King, who came to see my play.
Come on.
Yes.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh my gosh. Did you get a chance to speak with her?
Yes, I did. I was walking down the hall. I couldn't believe it. I'm walking down the hall speaking with Coretta Scott King, And after she came to see my play, and she did give me, Jehudi had all the quotes from people, and we have to find them all. But she did. She said, I knew Miss Hamer. We walking and talking. If I only knew. You know what I mean? When, like I stood across the street from Michael Jackson in Harlem and didn't go run and say, Michael, I just was so intimidated. You know how it is? Mm-hmm. But going back to that, Julian Bond, how about Congressman John Lewis saw my play in Vegas?
Oh, wow.
Came backstage crying. He said, I love you. He said, oh my God, you remind me of Miss Hamer. I love her. I love you. I love you. Yes, ma'am. And I could never get his assistant to get him to write it down for me, but he was there, honey, live and in person, came backstage and told me with tears in his eyes, I tell you no lie. And Ashford and Simpson, before he left,
really?
Valerie saw my play. Yeah. So now the goal is, and I almost missed it. Did you know that Mother Opal was trying to get me to go to the church with her Sunday? To do an excerpt for Vice President.
Vice President Kamala. Oh my gosh, that would have been so amazing. Oh yes, because she went to the church, right? So Kamala was at New Birth Church in Georgia this week.
Wait a minute. They had announced it, and Vice President Harris came over and kissed her.
Yeah, I know. I saw that.
You saw it?
I didn't get to go to the service, but my aunts, my cousins went. It was they had such a great time. They were out there. It was 4:00 in the morning to get to a 9:00 church service.
They got there 4 in the morning.
They got there 4:00 in the morning to get into the 9:00 church service. It was, they had, the whole highway was full of police cars.
What?
Any car that was abandoned, they were moving like it was real stuff. That's what happens when the vice president comes in town.
Wait a minute. And the president that's going to hopefully be elected. Wait a minute. Do you know Mother went up, and you know those little barriers that they have there?
Uh-huh.
I understand she moved the barrier out the way.
I'm not surprised.
And went up and whispered in the vice president's ear, and the Secret Service didn't go anywhere near her. Is she something else?
I'm not surprised. Look, when you're that old, she just turned 98, right? Yeah.
But I don't think it's her age. I think it's her. It's a combination of things. Mm-hmm. But her wisdom, her mind is so intact. Mm-hmm. And she's just bold now, bolder than ever. But I think she always had that.
Yeah.
I do believe she always had that.
I'm sure she did. I'm sure it didn't just come up. Look, she got that bow spirit. My daughter is literally a week apart from her birthday, and I see that spirit in my 8-year-old daughter coming to pass. So I totally understand. She has no fear. So I see it in Mother Opal as well. That no fear, let's get things done kind of attitude.
You know what got me, Athena, is when somebody tried to give her a wheelchair to sit down, and she said, "I don't need no wheelchair. When I sit down, I'm just lazy."
That's what she said. Yeah, she did. Yes. She said that just for me to get special treatments.
Oh my God, that blew my mind. I said, okay.
So I know we're coming towards the end. I'm checking to see if we had any questions from our audience. But I did have a couple of questions, last questions for you.
Did you want to play the excerpt, a little bit of the excerpt?
Oh, yeah, sure. Yes, if we have the excerpt, let's play that for sure.
Say this here. So the shirt I have on, it was a one-woman play done at the Progressive National Baptist Convention out of Atlanta. The Fannie Lou Hamer story was an unbelievable production. And so they gave me the shirt, so I told them I was going to wear it on the show. And so that's why I'm wearing it. So if y'all see the Fannie Lou Hamer story coming to your town, you don't want to miss it. It's an unbelievable show, so please check it out. And I can't wait till we see Fannie Lou Hamer on the big screen.
Awesome.
There's also a 4-minute clip. I don't know if you have time to play the whole thing.
Yeah, let's go.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Me and Pat Hamer worked on this here W.D. Marlowe plantation where I was his timekeeper for 18 long years. And after several attempts to come register to vote, I was called in to come see him. Mr. D, as we had to call him, with hatred, dead clean up in his eyes. He looked up at me. Fannie Lou, did you go down there to register to vote? And I took and addressed him, yes, sir, Mr. D, I did. Now, Fannie Lou, you know we ain't ready for this down here in Mississippi. Now, what you gonna do? Mr. D, I did not go down there to register for you, sir. I went down there to register for myself. But if you don't withdraw, I'm going to have to let you go. Well, I have y'all to know that I left that night. Because he might not have been ready, but we had been ready down here for the last 400 years. Now, I failed that voter's registration test 2 times. And I kindly looked up at them and I informed them, you're going to see me here for the next 30 days until I pass. Well, after that, I passed. But I still wasn't allowed to register to vote because they told me I needed 2 poll tax receipts. Well, I'll have y'all to know that I got my 2 poll tax receipts and I was a registered voter. And I was a citizen of these here United Snakes of America. Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that voters registration is here. I said, go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain. counted that freedom fighters are here. You see, you're a freedom fighter, you're a freedom fighter. We all are freedom fighters. Shine this little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine.
Come on. Oh my gosh, that excerpt, if y'all, come on, shop in the chat if y'all like that. That was, I love the United Snakes. Oh my gosh, that is hilarious.
It
I'm
is
like,
funny.
yes.
But you know what? The show has such humor. And since that excerpt, which has been quite a while ago, which was at the King Arts Complex in Columbia. By the way, there's a permanent slave exhibit there of the Middle Passage, called the Middle Passage. My voice is installed singing Amazing Grace permanently. And my friend Dr. Barbara Nicholson did that before she left. So she's now, I think, is an ancestor. But yeah, if you go to Columbus, Ohio, to the King's Arts Complex, go to the Middle Passage and you just press a little button and you can hear me sing Amazing Grace. And you could also purchase the CD of the Fannie Lou Hamer Story Project. So, you know, I am so excited.
I might just have to do that. It might be something. I think I saw our DJ Fame. He's our New York City Juneteenth official DJ, and I'm gonna implore him to download it so that we can play it throughout our Juneteenth festival. Because this, just the pieces, even the excerpts, I think it would be a great way to just to have you be present and to be a part of the day for us.
I just want to make a little short announcement that I am going to be singing for the production of Beverly Page's Claire and the Chocolate Nutcracker. And I am going to be the guest vocalist this November for that production. It's 175 kids. It's a community outreach. It is amazing.
Where is that going to be?
The Dr. Phillips Performing Arts Center in Orlando.
Oh, wow.
And it's going to be in the Walt Disney Theater. Get your tickets now because, folks, it sells out. And so I am the guest vocalist. Beverly came to see the play a couple of weeks ago, and she said, oh, no, you got to be in the play. You got to be in my play, you know. And so I'm going to be singing a couple of songs. Silent Night is one. And that's off my Christmas CD, I'll Be Home for Christmas. That you must have. That's
and where can we find all of these things?
On my website, healingthroughsoundmusic.org. And you can get, or the FannieLouHamerStory.com. You can buy the CDs there and t-shirts and, you know, memorabilia. But Christmas is coming, y'all, and you want to have this CD in your house. It's so nostalgic. And when I play it, it reminds me of my mommy, because I recorded it before she made her transition.
Oh, so much. You embody so much of our ancestors. And so I just speaking to you, it calms my spirit. So thank you. Even when I met you in person, I was just like, oh my gosh, like this was destined. This was definitely destined to happen. And I really appreciate you for that. Any last things that you wanted to share with the community before I ask you our very last question of the evening?
I wonder what that is. I did some research to find it, but I think I know what you're going to ask me. Let's see. Please come out and bring some folks. Like they said, bring people that you think won't vote. Bring them over to the I Am Terrell Performing Arts Center in Fort Worth on Sunday, November 3rd, 2 days before the election, y'all. Come on, we got to get people out. Okay. Mm-hmm. That's a 900-seat theater. We got plenty room for everybody. Wow. And I want to just shout out to Mother Opal and Dion for doing this incredible production. I mean, you were there, sister. You witnessed it. You witnessed her putting it to declaring and demanding and saying, we're making this happen. And so I want to thank you. What a personality. You are a different person. I mean, you're an incredible host. Oh. I want to thank you for this invitation.
Thank you. I appreciate it you so much. So, I mean, you don't know how this really it really warms my heart. And I am so looking forward to finding a way for us to connect in New York, to be able to bring you to be a part of what we're doing in New York City, especially around the school system, because a lot of our children are not getting the opportunity to experience this. And like you shared, we can't teach the old dog new tricks,
Right.
but we can raise up a child in the way they should go so that they might not depart from it. And I do pray that we are able to bring you in spaces and to share your story and to share materials from the work that you have been doing, so that we can make this story more well known. Because it is I mean, before hearing it from you, I was like, I had to look it up while I was there. I was like, who's Fannie Lou Hamer? What does she do? And ever since, it has been very much in my spirit. So our last question to share with you is, what does Juneteenth mean to you?
Okay. Juneteenth is a day to celebrate freedom from slavery. And to discuss, last Juneteenth, I went to the most incredible program. A brother gave a class. I guess it was a class, but it was sort of a lecture on what happened, why slavery ended, and the process, and how people celebrated and how they fought for it. It wasn't given. And so Juneteenth is a day to celebrate. Every American should celebrate the ending of chattel slavery in this country. This is not just for Black folks. So it means for us as Americans, as human beings, to come together and celebrate that part of our inhumanity we let go of, because slavery was inhumane. So that's what it means to me, the day of celebration.
I love that story. And yes, it is not just for African Americans, people of huge color. It is for all of us to celebrate, because it is just like the 4th of July, something that we as United States of America should be celebrating, the time where we changed over from abuse to another human being, to being able to celebrate the love and the life that we bring to this world, that made it whole. We are part of what made the United States whole. So thank you so much. It was a pleasure, Mzuri, having you on our show on today. We thank you for joining us, and we look forward to our connections after. As you heard, if you're in the Texas area, please go out in November the 3rd on a Sunday to go and see the play, and stay tuned to our site. So when she does come to New York, we will definitely be sharing it. So go to our website, juneteenthny.com, so that you can stay abreast of our newsletters. And I am just going to close us out, and then I'll be with you backstage.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you. So that was beautiful. Thank you everyone for joining on today. I'm speechless. I don't even know what to say. Like, that was just such a blessing on my heart. And I really hope that it encouraged you. I dropped the link from the recording that we played, the video that we played. We definitely hope that you can go and watch it and share it with others. Do more research. This is always like a stepping stone to give you information that you can take back and kind of go a little bit deeper, because that's what we need to do. We need to go deeper in whatever it is that we aspire to learn more about, and not just hear it firsthand from anyone who we may be experiencing. So again, I do thank you for your time. It is Thursday. Happy Thursday. Again, my name is Athenia Rodney, CEO and founder of Juneteenth NYC. And we like to say happy Thursday, everyone. We'll see you next week. Bye.